do this.
And welcome in to Football Happy Hour presented by Blitzalytics.com. As always, I'm your host, that little cartoon down there, bottom left-hand corner in that snazzy best team in the world, Rams jersey. Right above me, Jack Bourgeois. They're looking like Gardner Minshew. How you doing, Jack?
Doing good. Getting ready for my bachelor party weekend. So I did this before the whole Minshew thing. I'm not jumping on the train.
Yeah, if you pick Jack number one in your draft, he will also buy you all your beers. Roy, over there to my right, graced with the Steeler flag behind him, part of Black and Gold Nation. How you doing, Roy?
I'm doing tremendous, Rob, ready to jump in here on Happy Hour. It's the best thing next to a drink every Tuesday evening. So, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, I have fun talking football with my boys.
I'm sitting here sipping my sweet tea. I'm a Southern Belle, so that's how we roll. Up there, top in the corner, there is Mr. Cody Manning, Cody, can I get you to sit back just a little bit, bud? They're looking at a lot of your forehead being cut off. There we go. There we go. Hey, they got to see that money forehead, just brother. Like Peyton. Yeah, all that brain up north. So, again, good to be with you guys here. We're going to jump right into this, as we always do. We're going to give you 4 quarters, plus we're going to hit you with that overtime. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. We've got safeties. We're going to talk some more about the book. We got a fun little draft for you at the end of the show. So let's tear off into first quarter, where we're going to start talking about safeties. Me and Jack spent a good portion of the last Blitz breakdown talking about them, but let's break it down a little bit more here for you guys. And the big name, the reason it's something to talk about right now, Earl Thomas becomes available after being cut by the Ravens. Jack, I'm going to start with you. What do we do with Earl Thomas? It's getting harder and harder to find a spot for him.
Yeah, I mean, every time, let's start off the 49ers were the first 10 we talked about. We seemed like that was the right spot. Kyle Shanahan, apparently, like you guys just said, came out today and said no, they have no interest, that they liked their 2 safeties in Jaquiski Tart and Jimmy Ward. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied already. And now I'm really thinking it's got to be like Cowboys, Eagles, unless the Browns just throw a ton of money at him. Cowboys, is the place to go because that's where he wants to be. That's where he's trying to go. And like we talked a little bit earlier on the Blitz breakdown, the Eagles just seem like the fit because they desperately need some safety help after the loss of Malcolm Jenkins this year.
Yeah, for sure. Again, a little surprising that teams are just like, nah, I'm good on the Earl. So, Cody, I come to you because right before we went live here, you were talking about some rumblings about Earl. What do you got for me there, man? Let's spread some gossip. Let's do that.
Well, it just sounds like he was a terrible teammate there in Baltimore. Just that's why it didn't work out. And I guess the team felt like his play wasn't up to par to deal with the headache. He was late to multiple meetings. He got in a fight with Brandon Williams after that big loss to the Browns at the beginning of the season last year. Apparently, he was getting his car washed was his excuse for being late to a meeting. So this sounds like he was a bad teammate. And also, you got to keep in mind the Baltimore Leadership Council told the management that they were okay releasing or trading him. So I mean, if he wasn't that much of a headache, I don't think the team would just let him go. So it sounds like there's some behind the scenes issues with that. But as far as really quick, where I think he could go, I still, with the Grant Delpit injury, I keep on pointing to the Browns just because he's going to lose that money. There's no way you can fight against it, in my opinion, when the player said you want to go out. So if the Browns thought they wanted to get a little stab back at Baltimore, maybe they throw a 1-year deal worth some money at them because they got $40 million in cap space right now.
See, that's what I told Jack. I think for me it's the Browns, but I think the Browns will have to do something like give a second year or something. Like, it's not just going to be let me come play for Cleveland while you got all this money sitting there. I'm going to get paid. It's going to be excessive amount year 1, or I'm going to get a 2-year deal out of it at least. So that's where I stand on him. Roy, let me come to you real quick, and then we'll get into the next safety here. But where does Earl Thomas end up for you?
Well, for me, I just got to sit back and just kind of laugh a little bit because Baltimore sat back last year at this time, maybe even a little bit before this at the Steelers with almost a similar type condition with our head case of a wide receiver that we shipped out of town, Antonio Brown. We're seeing bad character bubbling to the surface, bad teammate, seeing what's happening. Just really I have to take a step back and just bask in this for a second as a Steeler fan, that the Ravens always say, well, that wouldn't happen in our culture. Well, you let it happen. So for me, I'm going to throw out two teams that are just going to be kind of an interesting maybe fit. The Los Angeles Chargers, why not? Gus Bradley was there, former defensive coordinator from when he was in Seattle. I know they got Derwin James back healthy. They got Nasir Adderley, who's a young guy. Rayshon Jenkins is coming on. But if you can get a guy like Earl Thomas, and he has experience playing in that defense with the defensive coordinator, that'd be a scary type secondary with that pass rushing front. So it'd have to be a one-year deal. And the other one, I know there's been rumors saying that they're not interested. But the Texans, I could definitely see being he went to Texas in college, and he's a Texas kid. I could see him definitely. If Deshaun Watson pushes the issue, I think he can maybe have a little bit of a way there in the swing vote.
See, I thought about that too, but I told Jack that can't happen because he wouldn't have been acquired via a dumbass trade, which is Bill O'Brien's trademark, so that can't happen. We'll move real quick then into Budda Baker, who got flat out paid from the position. 4 years, $59 million, 33.1 guaranteed with a $10 million signing bonus. Man, I should have played some football, y'all. I got old and fat and didn't ever get paid. Highest paid safety in the NFL at $14.75 a year, 24 years old, multiple-time Pro Bowler. 1 season as true safety here. We could run through some more numbers, but I'm sure people know who the hell Budda Baker is. So let me just run around the horn real quick. What do you think of the signing? This is a good signing, a bad signing, and what's it mean for the market? Let me start with you this time, Cody.
I like Budda Baker a lot. I was quite surprised just because they did make him as the top paid safety. But he got to reset the market. It's well deserved. And I think it's a smart thing for Arizona to do because it's a pretty young team. So it shows that you're willing to pay the people that are producing in their system. And they can go ahead and do these type of deals before Kyler Murray is up after his rookie deal.
Well, that and they beat the race to Jamal Adams, right? So they set the market before Jamal did, and they had to come with more money. I love it when deals go down like this. Roy, let me come to you for your thoughts.
Yeah, his age. He's only 24 years old. You're resetting the market there. Plus his versatility, whether it's in the box, nickel, safety. He plays all over the place, and Cody really talked about it. This is really making the statement that this coaching staff and front office will reward the players in this real young roster. Whoever makes a name for themselves is getting big money. So Kyler Murray, Isaiah Simmons, all these guys, maybe even a late career deal for maybe a Patrick Peterson. This is a really, arrow pointing up team that I'm interested to see. Love Budda Baker and his all-around talent.
Jack, Budda, what do you think, man?
Oh, man, Budda was one of my favorite players coming out of the 2017 draft. I cannot believe he went, I think it was, 36th overall. He should have definitely been a top 20, even top 15 pick. There was players that they were taken ahead of him that had no rhyme or reason. And they talked about size and everything like that. But this guy, it's insane. This guy's had 323 tackles over the last 3 years. 147 tackles as a true safety last year alone. He has yet to track an interception. Doesn't have the most batted balls. He is a sticky cover safety though. So as a defensive back, he doesn't allow a lot of open targets when he's playing press man or when he's forced to play inside the box as he's done the last couple of years. But then again, like you said, the 3D chest point. Now that he's making this much money, what is Jamal Adams going to get paid? It's got to be substantially more. So now they just force Seattle's hand into having to spend even more money than they were anticipating by getting this deal done a whole year ahead of schedule.
Yeah, Arizona playing 3D chess right now with this position. They're seeing what's happening with all these contracts. They got ahead of it. I love it. I love it so much. Arizona, by the way, if we don't get a Budda chant like the Rams gave Isaac Bruce, you guys are missing out on that. I would love to hear that state. Budda. Come on. Get on it, guys. You're missing it. Let's move on. Top 5 safeties. We've got about 7 minutes to run through these. Roy, let me start with you. Give me your top 5. And then I'll move on to you, Jack, and you, Cody.
Yeah, so for me, I got to go with my hometown boy, the guy we traded a first-round pick for, Minkah Fitzpatrick. This dude, he shut down passing lanes. They just stopped throwing deep in Pittsburgh when we acquired him from Miami. I think this year going to see him move around even more now that he had a full offseason in the playbook. I think the best is yet to come, and that's saying a lot with the type of impact he had on the Steelers' defense. So Minkah, it's all arrows pointing up. That's my number one guy. Number two is my personal favorite, nickel corner / safety, the Honey Badger. This guy, his instincts are off the chart. His leadership from where he came from in LSU getting suspended to the man he is now, what he's become, what he's had to work through. Great message all around. Love Tyrann Mathieu. Number three, Derwin James. If he wouldn't have got injured last year, we might be talking about him and Jamal Adams as one of the two youngest and best safeties in the game. He just moves all around, whether it's in the linebacker, pass rushing, coverage. He's such a big and physical playmaker. Love Derwin James. 4, can't let Budda Baker out of here. He got paid, all-around game. And the constantly undervalued number 5, Harrison Smith. This guy's been doing it for a decade, it seems like. He is always amongst the best ball skills as a safety, sure tackler. He seems to be able to diagnose plays, in a snap of a fingers. Love his all-around game. So I know I have a glaring missing guy there. I already spoke about him, Jamal Adams, but it's hard to cut any of them guys out.
Yeah, boo you, Roy. I like your list. Your list is mine, except for 5. I have Jamal Adams. So you almost got it right. Let me come to you now, Jack, and hit me with your top 5.
I'll quickly run through this. I got Jamal Adams, Tyrann Mathieu. Jamal Adams, to me, is the best thumper safety. I mean, he's the best all-around safety, I think, in the league, especially with his ability to play in between the tackles. So I think each one of these guys does something a little bit different. I think Jamal Adams and Minkah Fitzpatrick's game are as close to identical as it possibly gets, and then everybody else kind of has their own little flavor. Minkah, I have at 3. I think that was probably the greatest steal of a first-round pick trade of all time. I wish the Bucs would have drafted him over, instead of O.J. Howard that year. There's a lot of things I wish would have happened, but Minkah Fitzpatrick or Derwin James being on the Bucs would have been happy for me. Now looking back on it, but Harrison Smith coming in at 4, and I'm the only one, I believe, to have Earl Thomas still in the top 5. Earl Thomas only allowed, I think we found 2 different stats, but it was either 111 yards last year or I think or like 93. 87
yeah,
is
it
what
was somewhere between 87
found.
and 111.
Harrison Smith had like 400 yards. Budda Baker had like 480 yards. I mean, I can go through each one and pull up all the stats, but it's unquestionable that Earl Thomas still has it from a coverage standpoint. Yes, now we kind of think about him getting stiff-armed straight to hell by by Derrick Henry.
Used as a lead blocker is the better description.
That was bad. But still, I mean, old man Thomas can still play. Old man Earl, whatever you want to call him. He's still one of the best in the game. He's just not everybody's, cup of tea.
No, I get it for sure. Cody, hit me with your 5, man.
Yeah, I'll be quick because these guys talk up on these guys pretty well for me until Roy just messed with the dang script. And
I gotta play with my man Cody.
Oh man, he messed up my. Okay, Roy just completely messed up my list. Not cool, Roy. I don't need to see no Minkah effect graphic. Anyways, my number 1 player, Derwin James. Roy talked about it. If he didn't get hurt last year, he'd be more talked about as a top safety. And I think this year, personally, I think the Chargers' record might not be that great, where he might not be able to be in contention. But I think at the end of the year, we're going to be talking him in Defensive Player of the Year candidate. I don't know if you guys saw the couple of highlights of him sticking on Keenan Allen, one of the best route runners in the NFL in man-to-man coverage. So I think he's in store for a better year. Jamal Adams, number 2. He's a game changer to me. I debated the next 2 guys. I put Harrison Smith just because I have more respect for his longevity of his career. I want to make sure Minkah Fitzpatrick can do this year in and year out. And last year wasn't just a one-year fluke. I'm not saying that because he's still in my top 4. I see the talent. Loved him coming out, a versatile safety out of Alabama. And number 5, I put Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger. I wanted to put him up higher on my list. I love watching him play. But I do feel like, for whatever reason, I got a weird feeling we're going to kind of start see his play deteriorating as the years go by. But he's still a top 5 safe for me.
Yeah, again, I'm not mad at any of those lists. I think I think you could probably throw a dart and get this list correct, man. There's some good upper echelon talent in this position. And Roy really wants me to tell you guys here, the Minka effect that interrupted Cody's flow of thought. Steelers 2019 yards allowed per game, pre-Minka 2 games, passing yards allowed 320 on average, total yards allowed 445 on average. And the 14 games post-Minka, they had 177 passing yards allowed on average and 284 total yards allowed on average. Obviously, the kid is good. It's not an argument, but Roy's like so much bleeding black and gold here. Like, it just doesn't matter. Minka's great.
It is.
I do remember when people were
more
talking about
Steelers.
how could you give up a first-round pick for a safety? You're giving up a quarterback. Yeah, right, dude. And what was it, 15?
Yep, it was number 15 overall, and I do it every day of the week.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
the first time the Steelers didn't have a first-round pick in like 35 years. So
Yeah, but the first-round
well
pick
worth
was
it.
Minka. I'll take
Yes.
that all day at 15.
yeah, we got 2 game changers in basically one offseason or one season. We got Devin Bush and him. Look out, son.
On TBB, we made this point that think of all the top safeties. Think of the greatest safeties of all time. Almost every one of them has a ring. You can't
definitely.
say that about any other position. Like, just go down the list. Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, like Ronnie Lott. Like, you can go through a ton of them. They all have rings.
Atwater. Yeah, I mean, the talent. Yeah, it all goes through the communication. John Lynch.
Yeah. I mean, literally all of them. And you cannot say that about any other position. Can't say that about running back. Can't say that about offensive line. Can't say that about wide receiver. That's for sure. Because the majority of the best wide receivers don't have one.
And that's
So,
because
I mean,
they're literally
I don't know if that's
they're the QB of the defense. When you make that
Absolutely.
argument.
Speaking of QBs, what a segue. You guys didn't even know it. Let's move on to quarter number 2, where we're going to throw you out some MVP candidates. Obviously, it's normally a quarterback award, so we're going to throw out some rules here. We're going to have you guys each pick one quarterback, one sleeper, and we specifically made you pick one non-QB. Who hadn't? I think we'll start with Roy this time here. Roy, go ahead and hit me with your one QB that's pretty damn obvious, right?
Yeah, I think it's pretty blatantly obvious that it's going to be Patty Mahomes. It's got to be Patty Mahomes. If you're not picking him to be odds-on favorite, you might be talking about Lamar Jackson, but I'm still not buying that he's going to be completely healthy. We see he already missed some time in training camp, and they lost some offensive line help over the offseason. So I'm really questioning that, but Patty Mahomes, he's set up for not only this year, but multiple years MVP candidacy. So that's my odds-on favorite. And then we went with a sleeper and then a non-quarterback. So I'm just going to go ahead and bust this out real quick for the camera. And I think I might go ahead and put it on here for this segment because my MVP candidate is none other than Big Ben Roethlisberger. This is one of the best.
This dude here.
An assortment of weapons, or Deontay Johnson, or Rob's personal favorite, Mapletron, who's been lighting it up in training camp. There's been nobody been able to cover him. And the last time Big Ben had a target over 6'4", that was Martavis Bryant, and we went deep in the playoffs. So Big Ben, they said the ball is spinning out of his hand better, and he has yet to feel some pain after all this. So Big Ben is my sleeper with all his weapons he has. My non-quarterback, and I'm going to be bleeding my black and gold here again, TJ Watt. I'm predicting he breaks the single-season sack record. This guy's also been putting on a show at training camp in Heinz Field. And just a little trivia question you guys know here, but the last time a non-quarterback or running back won the MVP was in 1986, before I was born. Actually, probably before my sister was born, too. So, 86, that was LT, and he also had the single-season sack record. So, TJ Watt, 23 sacks, first time since 86. Bring it on down. Let's go.
You know who wins MVP is Roy, because not only is he rocking that hat, but we all got a ticket to the gun show. Like, sun's out, guns out, baby. Sun's
That's
out,
right.
guns out.
I didn't know this was a sleeveless show.
Yeah, we got sleeveless Roy. We've got mustache Jack. Cody, next week, you got to bring your best Clinton Portis. Jack, let me start with you because, again, you went Patty number 1 overall QB too.
It's hard not to. I mean, it's
It
Patrick
is.
Mahomes. Like, if Patrick Mahomes was healthy last year, like, it wouldn't even be a question. It'd be Patrick Mahomes. Like, is Patrick Mahomes gonna win the Super Bowl? Yeah, it's Patrick Mahomes. Like, it's gonna happen. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I think the only reason Cody may be just trying to will something to existence, but I won't jump the gun on his pick. But I don't think his pick's ever even had an MVP vote, which is pathetic and really sad.
Egregious.
But it is egregious. Blasphemy, as they say. All right, and then my sleeper is Kyler Murray. I might have stole this from some other people. I know we've been talking about it like crazy on the breakdown, but I think what Kyler Murray could do with his plethora of wide receivers, his extremely versatile, I mean, full-on basketball team of wide receivers between D-Hop and Andy Isabella and Larry Fitz and Keyshawn Johnson and Christian Kirk, and the list can go on and on. Like, they don't have enough room for all the wide receivers that they've got on that pool. I think that he's going to have a huge coming out party year, or it's going to be the complete opposite, and we're all going to be wrong, and they're going to figure out the Cliff Kingsbury offense, and that's going to be all she wrote. But I don't think that's going to happen. I really do lean towards the first of the two.
And your non-QB.
For my non-QB, simply because of targets, if Christian McCaffrey can't win it last year, going 1,000 and 1,000, then I don't think we're going to have a running back win it. We've never had a wide receiver win it, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to say Michael Thomas, simply because of the fact that last year he graded so high on our MVP metric and our MVP rating because he did it with two different quarterbacks. I think that's likely going to happen again. We're going to see some Breeze. We're going to see a little Taysom Hill, and then we're going to see some Jameis because sooner or later, old man Breeze ain't going to hold up. His shoulder or his arm hasn't held up the last 2 seasons. I don't see it happening, or I see it happening again with him, getting banged up. So I think Michael Thomas is going to get 15 targets a game and have a stupid, crazy year again.
The Mormon missile.
It hit you with the senior slant route. I just noticed I didn't start the clock, so we have as long as we want to talk about this. So,
kill me, Smalls.
Hey, look, man, it's episode 3. I'm still like nervous about
4.
this. So,
Hey,
whatever. I can't count.
Is it 4?
It's
I don't
4.
even know. I don't even know either. I know we're on all 4 platforms now, though.
All 4 platforms.
That's what we are. We're all on all 4 platforms.
Yeah,
We're on
all 4
YouTube.
platforms.
We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. And is that 3? 3 platforms? 4. What's the 4th one?
Periscope.
Yeah, that's Twitter.
Twitch. We're also
Twitch.
on Twitch because
Twitch.
we're old, dude.
Twitch.
We don't know shit about Twitch. Let's be
Hey,
honest.
guys,
If you're on Twitch,
no
thank you
viewers on
so
that.
much because I know jack about Twitch. So
too
Jack
for this.
finished up his with a non-QB. Sing your slant route, Michael Thomas. Cody, Jack alluded to it already. You were a bit contrarian here with your one QB. I love it.
Yeah, I saw they both picked Patty, and I just had to pick somebody else. I'm with Roy. I kind of see a regression with Lamar. I mean, I still think he'll be great this year if he's on the field. I just don't think he'll be in consideration for MVP this year. I don't know why. I just have that gut feeling. So, yeah, I picked Russell Wilson because it's about time he at least gets 1 vote, and I think he's going to have a monster season. You keep on hearing him and the rest of the team pushing for Russ to cook. And I think he really wants an MVP on his resume. And I think that's why you're hearing him push for Antonio Brown. Me and Rob talked about it last week on the last episode of Fantasy Football Hot Seat, that if I think if Antonio Brown gets on the Seahawks and they get through that 8-game suspension, and he's got Antonio Brown, Tyler Lockett, and DK Metcalf, he is going to absolutely go off at the last part of the year, and that's when the MVP award is won. And if that does happen, I think he wins the award. And I'll say this too. I know Patty's only been technically a starter for 2 years, but I keep on bringing this stat up. Over the last 3 seasons for quarterback passing touchdowns, Russell Wilson's at 100. The second place person's Kirk Cousins at 85. That's 15 more touchdowns on probably how many less attempts. If they just let him free this year, I think he can win the MVP. My dark horse candidate or sleeper candidate is a favorite of Blitz. I know probably a good portion of the football Twitter out there will probably ream me for this, but I'm picking Josh Allen. I'm a believer in him. I think from what I've seen It looks like he has someone improve the deep ball. It sounds like he was connecting with Diggs often today on deep balls. And he's got a plethora of receiving targets between Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, John Brown, Dawson Knox, Devin Singletary's a nice little scat back out of the backfield. So I think he's going to take the next step. And if that does happen and the Bills go to the playoffs, they win the AFC East, and he puts up monster numbers, I think he could be in a potential MVP candidate this year. My non-quarterback, I don't know why. I just picked Saquon Barkley. He's going into his third season. He was very productive on a bum ankle last year. He's going to be 100% healthy. I think they're going to want to make life easy on Daniel Jones, and I think he's going to get the ball often. I think he can have a better season than CMC this year. I've said that before this summer. So if they were to get into the playoffs, I think it would be because of Saquon. And I'll say this. My early prediction is the Blitzalytics MVP metric created by Jack. It's going to be won by Saquon this year.
Nice.
I'm right there with you.
Nice. All right, so I'm going to hit you with mine. I didn't even write them up here in the script because I'm a contrarian and I don't follow the rules. My quarterback is Kyler Murray because it ain't a sleeper, Jack. It's happening. Kyler Murray for MVP 2020. I'm going to speak it into existence.
Make it happen.
My sleeper is Thomas J. Brady. He's wins MVP for the Buccaneers. He turns it around. The Bucs are just dominant, and Tom Brady waltzes into an MVP. It's not that crazy. And then my non-QB, I'm going to give it to my boy Aaron Donald, because if a quarterback don't win it, it better be my dude. Aaron Donald deserves some love for MVP. So those are my three. Again, I got to sneak in and get that Rams love in there when I can. So absolutely.
And we do have a question. We have our first question from our boy Eric Wilson. He wants to know if Buffalo will win the AFC East. My vote is yes.
Hands down. Hands down. Aye.
Yes.
Raise your hand, you little cartoon. You raise your hand.
I haven't rigged it to do that yet.
We'll just twitch slightly like this. That's a yes.
He's surprised by Jack's pick of Kyler Murray. So we might have to get Eric on the show.
It's my pick. Kyler Murray for real. I see
Murray.
you, Eric. Yes, absolutely.
That is Kyler Murray, great from scouting department. Kyler Murray is up there. I'm telling you, that dude. I'm with Rob. Patty Mahomes, Kyler Murray. Let's go.
Absolutely, man. It gets no better for me. So, again, being that we have now hit halftime in the show, I'm going to give my boys a little bit of a break here. We're going to hit you with the commercial for the book that you'd better buy, because I got my copy today, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and it is big enough to stop an intruder, so it also doubles as a protection weapon. It feels a lot like... There it is. You see Cody up. Look at that thing. Look at that thing. Tell me if somebody kicked in Cody's door, that wouldn't be defense. That's absolutely great. Boom. Put a dude on it. So we'll be right back. Check out the commercial for the book, and we'll be right back with you guys in just a minute. For over 100 years, the story has been written, ever changing and growing with each new chapter. The soul remains, though the characters change. Bigger, faster, stronger, smarter.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide.
So too grows our fandom. Start miles ahead. The 2020 Prospect Encyclopedia. Analytics.com. Whoa, welcome back to Football Happy Hour, bro. There it is again. Everybody's showing it off. Poor Roy. Like Cody said when we were in break, it stinks because this is Roy's baby. This is the idea he had years ago. He's the last one of the guys that wrote it to get his book. He's the only one can't flip through the pages right now. But I'll tell you what, if that commercial don't get you jazzed up about it, you don't have a heartbeat, my friend. Here we go. Let's get back into the show. And speaking of that book, we're going to go ahead and hit you with a breakdown of it. Third quarter today, we are going to be talking about the AFC East in the Encyclopedia. And there's the timer. It is a-working. And Cody, we're going to start with the Buffalo Bills. Since you wrote about them, I figure we'll come to you. Who's the guy you want to talk about here?
I'm going to go ahead and talk about my number one prospect on the Bills. It's Ed Oliver, man. That second half he put on last year was very impressive to me. I was a big fan of him going into that draft class, and I just think he's about to take the next step this year. I think he has what it takes from an athletic standpoint and from a strength standpoint to be a top 5 defensive tackle in this league. And he's going to be the biggest key. I won't say the biggest key, but him taking that next step in year 2 will be the biggest key for that Bills defense to be almost like unstoppable. They're they're probably going to be a top 5 defense, and I expect him to be a major part of that. Right.
Like, I feel like I'm right there with you on Ed Oliver. To me, like, if he hits on all cylinders, they go from a really good defense to a great defense, right? Like, he's the key that turns it into that next level defense for me. Roy, I'm going to come to you for a spotlight player on the Bills.
Yeah, for me, it's the number 19 player, Dane Jackson, out of Pittsburgh. He was their 7th-round pick this past year. This guy's a 4-year starter from Pitt. And all I keep remember is seeing him was down at the Senior Bowl, just sticking to every guy in coverage. He might have got a little too handsy, might have caused a couple holding penalties, but this guy, he was just a pest no matter what. He has good transitional skills, good ball skills at the catch point. He's not afraid to get dirty in the tackling and the run department. So really like what he can bring to the table, especially maybe in special teams in year 1, because they did sign Josh Norman. They have one of the best in the business at Tre'Davious White. So he has some guys in there to really learn from, a Levi Wallace as well. That was an undrafted guy they brought on and really made himself a good player. This is going to be a quality secondary. They have really good safeties, and he's going to be a young piece in the cornerback room, maybe to take over at a nickel spot or maybe even as a starting outside corner here, maybe next year or the year after Norman moves on.
And, I mean, again, this is why you got to get the book. Like, who knows that guy, right? Like, this is not your common knowledge player here. This is why you need this information. Jack, I love who you have highlighted. Sorry to move on from Roy so much, but this is the guy I wanted to hear about. Jack, hit me with it.
AJ Epinesa was completely disrespected in following the draft this year. Somebody that we were very high on, but we understood the concerns. He doesn't bend well. He's not very flexible. He's not a speed rusher. He's not a true edge guy. He is a long arm, lengthy defensive end that is going to bull rush you, that is going to use his reach, use his length to get in and just shed blockers. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the highlights from what he's done so far at Bills camp, but he's playing outstanding. He is full on bodying guys as a pure bull rush, from point A to point B, get after it type. He's got a good quick get off, and somebody that I will talk about here later in Austin Jackson. He destroyed Austin Jackson this year on multiple occasions. I think it's probably the game that that everyone at Blitzalytics talked about, debated, looked at more than anything else was his game versus USC earlier this year or this past season. He's going to be a game wrecker at the next level, and they got a steal in the second round.
Absolutely. I remember like you guys talking about him because I finally got to go to the combine this year. Oh my God, it was so fun. I'm gonna cry. Dear Chili.
Last time things were normal.
Dear Chili.
Right. Yeah, all the fun stuff, and I'm like, Dear Chili. I love the Epinesa pick, obviously, and I like some of the depth they have here. A lot of teams, we talked last time about how thin it got for the Saints. Not so much here, man. I like some of the depth here as well. Let's move on to the Miami Dolphins. Not with us today on the show, but our in-house editor who, geez, man, this guy did so much work for this book. I can't thank him enough. I remember late nights working hand in hand with him to get it going. But the Miami Dolphins, top pick overall, Tua Tagovailoa, obviously in this book for you guys to learn about as well. But let me start with you here, Jack. Who is it that you want to highlight off this list?
Oh, it's Austin Jackson, and not for good reasons. But I definitely I've shit on this guy since the beginning of draft season, and I've been basically back against the wall, throwing punches at everybody on draft Twitter and everybody in Blitzalytics about how much I dislike this guy's game, not the person. Great, amazing person, but his game is bad. His technique is terrible, and he's going to look very, very bad on film this rookie year, especially because he's going to be forced into action in Miami. He is not pro-ready by any means. He has a ton of physical traits, but nothing that is going to translate year one. I expect him to be the weak point of that entire offensive line, and that is with multiple tackles. I mean, they have they got multiple tackles. They got Robert Hunt, the guard. He still is going to come in as their weak spot, and they drafted him way too early. And if I have to eat crow on this, I will be so shocked that I'll just probably quit entirely.
Whoa! I don't know about all that.
I'm that confident about my feeling about Austin Jackson, not the person.
That's real fun. The CEO is going to quit. What does that do for us, Jack?
I'm just kidding, guys.
Total anarchy. Let's burn the house down.
That's sad, Jack.
Daddy said he's going to leave. Daddy said he's going to leave.
You know what you've seen on film, Roy. You know it's there.
Hey, I also know that
again, me and Roy did
terrible at developing offensive linemen.
Well, I've got the book here, and I'm looking at Austin Jackson, and Alex got him with a present grade of 40, future grade 55. Jack, I ask you, would you have graded him in that range as well? It's not exceptionally big, and it's obviously shows a huge growth point to pop up that much, but is that possible?
Possibly, yes. I think that he is a awesome developmental prospect. I think he's got everything you look for in a left tackle or right tackle in terms of, physical abilities and size and attributes. But the technique is awful. I mean, we literally watched him just let AJ Epinesa walk right on by him. I mean, just walk right on by him.
Whiff, hit him with the whiff. Let me get to you now, Roy. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked that question. We've got to get it rolling. We do this every time, man. I just like to ramble on. So hit me with your pick, brother.
Mine is a guy I actually did the scouting report. If you check out on Blitzalytics.com on my portfolio, Noah Igbenogany, the corner from Auburn. Physical guy. He's kind of allergic at the line of scrimmage, which is kind of weird. But if you watch throughout the duration of the route, this guy is physical, especially at the catch point. He's more of a track athlete at this point than a really technically savvy corner. He's more of a depth piece, and a little bit along the same line as Jack's saying. He needs a lot of development, but at least in his case, he's going to get it because he has some quality guys in front of him already going to be starting. But his upside is through the roof. He's excellent athleticism, excellent upside. He understands how to have coverage. He just needs to get better at the line of scrimmage and press man, which with Flores, he's going to get better at. He likes physical guys at the line of scrimmage.
I love me some Flores. Everybody knows it. If you've listened to any TVB, you know I love that guy. Cody, spotlight player here for the Dolphins.
My guy is Preston Williams. He's a super talented wide receiver coming out of college. He had some off-field concerns, which caused him to go undrafted. And then last year, and I want to say 4 or 6 games, he was very productive, no matter who it was at quarterback, whether it was Rosen or Fitzpatrick. But unfortunately, he tore his ACL. But he is healthy now. And then they had 2 receivers opt out because of the COVID-19 concerns. So they're going to need him to produce right away. And I have such high expectations after seeing what he put on the field last year that if Devontae Parker can stay healthy, and proved last year was not a fluke, that if Preston Williams could hit his potential ceiling, they could develop into one of the top tandems in the league.
Not mad at that. Let's move on to the New England Patriots. Again, Alexander wrote this. Why Alexander didn't come. He doesn't love us. So, Roy, I'm going to start with you here because you gave me a visual element, which I appreciate. Your boy Dalton Keene out here looking like a straight-up just yoked version of our boy Gardner Minshew, just like huge Gardner Minshew. Tell me a little bit about Dalton.
Yeah, we're looking at the 5-day-a-week gym version of Jack Bourgeois playing tight end for the New England Patriots. Dalton,
got a great stash. I mean,
he does have an awesome stash, just like our CEO this week. Dalton Keene, Virginia Tech great. This guy was very underutilized while he was at Virginia Tech. He moves like a wide receiver, great hands, but his physicality in the blocking department, even though he might be a little undersized, especially for year one, just a great player all around. He's selfless. He's not afraid to, give up some catches for his teammates to do better, especially in the blocking department, or getting out on the move and blocking out in front of screens. This guy, he's very underutilized, and do not be surprised if he outperforms Devin Ossie, who's also having an excellent camp up in New England right now. They're going to have a two-headed monster here in New England that's going to be a formidable foe for years to come.
Yay, awesome. We're so glad to hear it. Cody, let's get to your spotlight player for the Pats.
Yeah, I'll make this quick. It's Kyle Duggar. I believe if I remember right, he was my third-ranked safety in this past class on our top 5 draft video. Go back on our YouTube channel and watch that if you want to hear our thoughts on him. But no, he's a guy I fell in love with at the Senior Bowl. I know we keep on talking about that. That's where you can kind of see guys like him that played at the D2 level step up and play with the D1 guys and prove himself. He's a playmaker. He can play on special teams, and he's having a great camp. I swear every day I check Twitter, it's like Kyle Duggar has 2 interceptions today. I don't know what that means about the New England quarterbacks, but he's having a great camp. I guarantee Bill Belichick has a role for him, and I think you're going to see him when you watch Patriots games this year kind of line up all over the place in their scheme.
I just don't want to talk about the Patriots, guys. like I'm trying to be cool about this, but
Yeah, but there's both Roy and Cody can attest to this. They have so many players that we were so high on.
Yeah.
Like they have a list of players on this all 22 that we either had as a sleeper or we had as a first round pick and they went in the 3rd or the 4th. Like from Chase Winovich to Yodny K-Juice to Kyle Duggar to J.C. Jackson. Isaiah Wynn was one of the top tackles that year. But Jarrett Stidham, Josh Uche, Dalton Keene. Like the list goes on and on and on and on about all these guys that either they're high on or we've hit on. And so it's good to see that, the team that's been the best team over the last, 1 or 2 decades, scouting wise lines up with what we say and what our numbers prove to be.
I mean, yeah, but it still feels gross. I mean, but okay, so who's your guy?
Try having Tom Brady as your quarterback.
I know, right? Where you got a shower
gross,
after wins.
Awesome.
You're like hot shower after wins. Yeah, absolutely. Who's your guy you want to target here? I love the highlight again for you. I knew this was going to be him.
Well, I think I'm going to throw a curveball because as much as I want to talk about Chase Winovich, I've never shut up and I never stopped talking about Chase Winovich for any of our Blitz shows. Yodny K-Juice is somebody I haven't talked to in quite a bit. And now with Marcus Cannon opting out of the season, Yodny K-Juice is going to be forced into action. And if it wasn't for an injury, he probably would have seen some more playing time since he's been drafted. Yodny K-Juice out of West Virginia is a mean. Like, you do not want to catch this guy in the middle of a dark alley anywhere. I mean, he is a bully. He was one of my favorite offensive tackles coming out just a year or 2 ago. What he's going to be able to do is add a mauler mentality to that offensive line. He's going to be able to protect the corner. He can do a lot of things. So Yodny K-Juice, because of the fact that he's going to be shifted into the starting role, and because of the fact that if anybody's listened to us before knows I called this shit on with Chase Winovich last year. So I'm not going to just keep. It kind of gets boring, or it gets a little tiresome. You guys hearing me talk about myself and my picks, so I'll just kind of leave that to you guys. Okay.
With the look you have, Jack, you need to start talking in the third person. That's it.
It is.
Jack
It
Bourgeois
works.
does what Jack
Jack
Bourgeois
Jack Bourgeois does what
and
Bougie
Jack
says-
Bourgeois mustache gets his
Bougie
way.
says Chase
Well, Bougie
Winovich
says
is a
go.
beast.
All right,
Bougie
so
says-
we got about 40 seconds here to get through the Jets. Let's be real. No one
That's all
likes
they
the
need.
Jets. I'm sorry, Gary V. I don't mean to crap on your team. I'm going to come to you, Cody, here. Again, written by Alex, because of course it was. New York Jets for you, Cody. Who's the guy you want to target?
I'll be very quick since we're running low on time. I said this before when we were talking about the book. It's Quinnen Williams. I think he had a slow start to his year last year because of his bum ankle. He came on towards the back end of the year. I think he's going to reestablish himself as one of the top players in that class. We also can't forget, even though I voted for Bosa, he was our consensus number one overall person in that draft class. And I think it's way too early to give up on him. Don't be surprised if he bounce backs this year. Alexander, you disrespected my man where you put him on your list. That's all I'll say.
Number six.
Six.
Roy, hit me with yours real quick. We're out of time. So we're just overtime in the third quarter, whatever.
Mine's Bryce Hall. If it wouldn't have been for an injury this past year, this guy's a long, physical, mean press corner. Great in run defense, and he's not afraid to get dirty at the catch point. He had a knee injury. It took him out early last season. He wound up going later on this draft. He would have been a first-round pick. The mentality and his resume that he put up in Virginia, they got a steal.
They did. Jack.
Ashton Davis, safety out of Cal. He is a super rangy, super athletic. I would say he almost has a torpedo approach to his game. He has a lot of room to grow, and I know there's talks early on, especially that they were even going to try and play him at corner. I don't know if that is the case, but I know there was some discussion about that. I'm excited to see what this guy's potential can be. Again, he is super raw. He is a moldable ball of clay at this point, but the athleticism and the attitude to play football is there. He just does not have a whole lot of field time.
No, I get it, man. He's going to get some field time now, though. The Jets are terrible. So I told you, I just want to repeat. I just told you guys I want to repeat it. During the draft process, I would have cut my pinky finger off for Mekhi Becton to be a Ram. I have all 10 fingers, but I still love the kid. So that's who I all four teams. Mekhi Becton, the absolute monster. Love the guy.
Draft unicorns.
Dude is so huge. It's insane. Oh, and by the way, sorry we ran through the Jets. If you don't like that, Gary V, you can come on the show and yell at us. It's fine.
We'll spend a whole segment talking about the Jets with you.
We certainly will. We'll do whatever you want, my friend. Let's move into the fourth quarter, where we're going to continue our discussion here, only we're going to move it to the opposite conference and hit you with the NFC East, where you're going to start with David Connor's Cowboys. Speaking of gross things I don't like to talk about, I guess I'll start here with you, Jack, because I know you're in the same boat with me.
It's so hard, but
they did so fucking good in the draft.
It's a good list, though. This is a good list. I mean, this may be one of the best draft classes of all time. Pre-draft or us figuring out pre-results. Put it that way. Yeah. Pre-results is the best draft class I've ever seen. All right, Bradley Anaya is my guy. Watched him out of Utah for quite some time, living there the last 2 years. Man, he is good. He's another one who bullied the you-know-what out of Austin Jackson and made him his you-know-what. I'm going to try really hard to not cuss on this show. Bradley Anaya is, to me, the biggest steal out of the entire draft, the best value pick, bar none. They talked about his arm length being an issue, and what else was it? I think it was just his arm length.
His arm length, yep.
His arm length, okay.
Yep.
Well, he can do everything else. He just doesn't have the arm length. He still has the pass rush moves. He has the counter moves. He has the spin moves. He has the motor. He has the athleticism. There's nothing he can't do, and especially as a rotational pass rusher, I keep forgetting to even throw his name in there when we're listing all the massive amount of talent they have on that defensive front. But he's going to be sneaky good come year one.
Love it. Love it. It's sad because this is so gross for me to say, but the Cowboys are so good. Jack just hit you with number 13 in the book, and Roy's about to hit you with number 19 in the book. That's how deep these freaking Cowboys are. Roy, hit me with it.
I would be remiss if I cannot talk about my boy here, who is going to have to transition off a running back, but none other than Mr. Sewu Alanalua. Jameez Alawale. Alawali, their fullback, opted out this year. They have nobody else, basically, maybe than Dalton Schultz, who can also play some H-back type, but not a true fullback. They're going to give him some reps here. He's been impressive with his lead blocking in camp right now in Dallas. This dude's a freak athlete. He is in the gym. He can lift ridiculous amounts of weight. When he's on the field, he has great vision, good speed, good burst. He can run people over. He can jump over people. He has good hands. I really wanted to see him as a running back, but I guess they're going to convert him to a fullback. He's a unicorn to me, and like I say before, I want those type of players. And now we're going to see him lead blocking for Ezekiel Elliott and have Dak Prescott, and you have CeeDee Lamb and all these, Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup. This is just an embarrassment of riches. And 19 on this list is what we're talking about. This type of freak athlete.
Right. It's insane how deep they are. Before we get to Cody, I'm going to give a shout out to Jay Hostetler out there watching us. That's your cousin, right, Roy? He's a cousin?
Yep.
Cousin
Jay
Jay out there.
Hostetler.
Giving us some love, giving us
Philadelphia
some
Eagle finest.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
So
So
There
this is
is
gross
such a
for
thing?
him too. Right?
Yep.
So,
We're getting his Eagles here.
Cody, who's the man you want to talk about here in Dallas?
I want to talk about Tyler Biadasz because he's a Badger, and I'm going to have to talk about my Badgers on this show. But no, the main reason I want to bring him up is because he's a super talented center that had his play kind of diminish over the last couple of years because of a couple serious injuries, especially in the hip. It led to inconsistency, but I still think he has what it takes if he can get fully healthy because of his high IQ. And they got him in the 4th round, and then we just saw Travis Frederick retire. I think he's not going to start right away. I think they need to let him kind of ease into it, get healthy, get that play strength up. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's their starting center by next season at some point.
How do you say his last name again?
Biadasz.
Well,
Yep.
In my mind, it's better because I always thought it was badass, like a Boston guy saying badass, right? Like I just Tyler Badass. Sorry about that. It's just what comes to mind. So,
And the show is off.
Starting the clock.
hey, it's not off the rails. We laid a new track. That's what I like to think about. So let's move on here. And apparently, this is an Alexander themed episode because Alexander also wrote the New York Giants. We'll head over to New York. And Cody, let me start with you. Who's the guy that you'd like to feature on this Giant roster?
For me, I'll go with. I'm gonna go with. As much as I like Xavier McKinney, my number one safety, I'm actually going to talk about Julian Love. He was in my top 5 corner back group for that the 2018 class.
Yep.
He's kind of transitioned to playing kind of like a safety cornerback role. I'm wondering where they're going to play him this year, just because it is a new coaching staff. Then you're seeing the issue with the Georgia kid that got to miss this year, their 1st round pick from last year.
DeAndre Baker.
But yeah, DeAndre Baker, which he was in my top 5 list as well. But Love he was a 4-year player at Notre Dame. He's a consistent player, and I think he can be like a glue guy in their defense.
Glue guy. Always love that term, man. Roy, I'm going to come to you. Giants feature.
Yeah, my guy, Shane Lemieux. I also believe I did his scouting report. If not, I remember watching him. You want to talk about a mauler? You want some attitude in the run game? This guy played over 50 games while he was at Oregon at left guard, right beside Penny Sewell. He is an attitude adjuster. I think you're going to see a Joe Judge. He's going to be a Joe Judge player. He's already been impressing him in practices here in training camp. Don't be surprised with that type of experience. You might see him have a Logan Mankins type career. I think that upside is in there. If left guard, beside Andrew Thomas, that can be a mauling side of the offensive line there.
Well, mighty high praise for Mr. Lemieux from Roy Countryman there. Jack, who's the Giant you like to feature today?
I actually did the Shane Lemieux report.
That's who it was. We were
but
talking
you assigned
about,
it.
yes.
You did assign it to
Yes.
me, sir.
I couldn't remember.
We did talk about him quite a bit.
He's a bad dude.
He is. He's a mean man. He's a mean man. The pass protection, not so much. But one guy that, again, I probably wouldn't be talking about if it wasn't for COVID opt-outs. Matt Pert is going to be likely forced in. I'm not too sure if he's going to win the starting job, but I know he's going to be in the running for it for the tackle opposite of Andrew Thomas. because Nate Soldier is the one who opted out this year.
Yeah.
So Matt Pert is a super lengthy. I would say he's an almost identical version of Austin Jackson, except he's longer and more athletic. I think he stands at like 6'8" or 6'7". I mean, length for days and super athletic. That was the biggest thing to me, is that he is not clumsy at all. He's a smooth mover, very fluid hips in his transition, just very raw. Like, you think of UConn, you think of women's basketball, you don't think of offensive linemen. Like, just be real about that. So Matt Pert has got a long ways to go, but he is somebody, again, I am super intrigued by. Could be a liability come year one. I'm not going to say that he's going to be any better, any worse than Austin Jackson, but they are two players that are extremely similar. The only difference is one got drafted extremely high and one got drafted probably where he should have.
Fair enough. Let's move on then to Cousin Jay's Philadelphia Eagles. Hopefully you stuck with us, Jay, because we're going to break down your squad here. And Roy, I want to start with you. Ryan Lippert is the one who wrote this up for us. So hi, Ryan. I hope you're listening. Hi, Ryan. I'm going to come to you, though, Roy. Who do you want to feature here on this Eagles roster?
This is one of the guys we got to know personally down at the Senior Bowl. Actually ran into him after the Senior Bowl game at a restaurant. Got to meet him and his family. Awesome people. He didn't actually play high school football due to religious beliefs. That's Davion Taylor. This guy's a track athlete, ridiculous straight line speed, as well as being able to reach the far hashes, sideline to sideline. His ball tracking ability and coverage skills are there. He sometimes struggles to get his head around, but this guy has range for days. Don't be surprised. I know this is high praise, but Darius Leonard type athleticism, the tracking ability, he's just very raw at this point. So if you give him a year or two from now, he might have that type of impact. He's a ridiculous athlete.
I don't know if our viewers saw it, but when you uttered the name Darius Leonard, Cody was like, Psh, get the hell out of here. I saw it in his eyes. So I'm going to come to Cody now. Cody, hit me with somebody from this Eagles roster.
So I've been debating for like the last few minutes while they were discussing their Giants players who I wanted to pick on the Eagles, because there are a few people I like here, like TJ Edwards, my Badger guy, made my top 5 list linebacker 2018, so I'm pretty proud of that. That he came on his rookie year. But I'm choosing my guy Miles Sanders, not only because he's a super talented guy, not only because they're going to give him the ball a lot and potentially win your fantasy league, but because Rob, I just realized, has the dang Rocky statue on his scouting report. That's the type of stuff that you get with the Prospect Encyclopedia. But no, he's a super talented back. He's very elusive in open space. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. I saw the talent when he came out in that class, but I was still kind of like, 1 year production. We'll see what he does. And then once I saw him on the NFL field doing what he did for Philadelphia last year, I'm very excited to see what he can put together this season.
Absolutely. You got to hit him with the Rocky statue when you talking Philly, baby. I couldn't very well put a giant cheesesteak, though my fat kid in me really wanted to. Yeah, right, cheesesteak. I shouldn't have said the word. And I apologize. The clock is out again. The clock is like one of my friends. It works when it wants to and never when it should. Jack, let me come to you. Who do you want to talk about here on the Eagles roster?
Whose friends are you talking about? I hope you ain't talking about us.
Cody's met plenty of people in the Springfield area. That's why he's smiling. He's like, oh yeah, totally, those people.
All right, so there's quite a few guys to talk about on this list. Josh Sweat. I mean, Jalen Hurts. You've got Jalen Rieger. You've got Andre Dillard. You've got J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. T.J. Edwards. I want to talk about Nate Herbig, who I was super excited when not that I'm excited about hearing somebody go down, but when you hear Brandon Brooks go down, I was like, oh my God, it's coming. Nate Herbig is going to get some playing time this year. Let's go. If you guys haven't seen Nate Herbig play from Stanford, go look up his highlight reel. Yes, I said it. A highlight reel of an offensive lineman taking souls, like literally playing the Grim Reaper. I've shown it to you, right, Roy? Or Rob?
Yes. Yeah, I know,
Roy. Okay, all right.
He's
it is literally
singing fellas, bro, just snatching them.
It looks like the Incredible Hulk playing football. It's ridiculous. And Nate Herbig is one of the biggest men that you do not want to see. Like, he is a full-on freight train. If he gets a little bit of momentum, and for a big boy, he can move. He is an outstanding run blocker. equally terrible in the past game. Definitely needs to develop. But if anything happens to any other two guards, I think he's number 2 center right now.
Yep.
Expect to see some playing time with him. I think he ended up going undrafted that year, and I think I still had him in my top 5 offensive linemen simply because of the fact that I had such a man crush on him. Or I think he might have made the superlatives. I'm not too sure.
Jack, you'll be happy to know he's been the eligible tight end for Philadelphia in practices. So you might get to see him go in motion and eliminate some linebackers at the second level. So get ready for your man crush to be playing, eligible football.
Love it. I love it when the big uglies get to go downfield, bro.
He is favorite. Emphasis on big ugly.
Let's move on here. Last team we get to talk about is the only team in the NFL without a real name, the Washington football team. And Jack, we will start with you. David Connors, again, the writer on this one. Thanks, David. I hope you are listening as well, so I want to tell you hi. Roy and I's cohort over on the Pick Six. So, Jack, let me come to you. Who's the guy you want to talk about? I see it highlighted, and I am in love, if you will.
Yes, Bryce Love. One of my favorite. I guess we keep it Stanford. Keep it Stanford for you. Bryce Love, 2 years ago, was one of the best backs, if not the best back, coming out of college football. He is the predecessor to Christian McCaffrey and had very similar stats. He is a very similar player. He is not the elite player that Christian McCaffrey is. He is a poor man's Christian McCaffrey, a very poor man's Christian McCaffrey at that. But somebody who I'm very excited to see play this year. Again, injuries happened, and he wasn't able to see the field yet. I'm very excited to see what Bryce Love can do. And Washington for their football team.
Stupid. It's so stupid.
No push-ups. No push-ups for Jack this time because he said
he did get it right.
I gotta get those in, huh? All right, I'll get those in right now. I actually think I owe 2 sets, so I owe 20 right now. So
all right. Well, I'll come to you, Cody, while Jack works out. Who do you want to talk to about the Washington football team?
I'm going to go with Bryce Love's counterpart in that same running back room, and I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson. He's a guy that I just throughout the draft process, once I turned on the tape, fell in love with. I did a scouting report for the Senior Bowl, did a scouting report for Blitzlytics.com. He's got great cutting ability. He can take the top off a defense. He can take a kick return or a punt return for a touchdown, and he can line up in the backfield. It sounds like they're going to try to mainly focus him at running back, but I think he has what it takes to be an offensive weapon. I think you can line him up in the slot. You can line him up in the backfield. If you need him as a returner this year, you can. Now that the unfortunate news with Darius Guice happened, he's set to have a bigger role, but he has the ability to take over games. That if you haven't watched it, watch his game against SMU. He had 386 all-purpose yards, 350-plus touchdowns as a returner, a runner, and a receiver. If you haven't watched that game, you want to be excited about the kid, go watch that. You can see what he can potentially do at the next level.
Absolutely. Washington is weird because they've got a couple electric players down this roster that you're just like, you guys don't deserve these players. You don't deserve these dudes, and that's one of them. Roy, by the way, a shout out to Jack for actually hitting it up on live camera, paying his debt to society. Oh, more guns! We're going to get shut down.
I got to get in beach shape.
Tahoe, you can't show weaponry like that on YouTube, sir.
Hey, Jack, rounds of shape. So me and Rob Robert are in.
You're damn right. Roy, I did. Go ahead. Sorry. No, you're good. Nothing, you're good. Nothing. You take the shirt off, but it'd be too much. It's just too much.
No.
Let me come to you, Roy, because everybody in the room knew who you were going to talk about.
Yeah, I highlighted 5 different players just to keep everybody guessing, but they knew who it was. It was the Gandy Man Can because he likes to make touchdown catches and make his quarterback look good. Antonio Gandy Golden. None other than the physical specimen that's going to get a lot of playing time this year because Kelvin Harmon blew his knee out, unfortunately, in the training camp session here and before that. So this guy at Liberty was just a man among boys. At the catch point, there's nobody. It's a bigger bully. He might have some build-up speed. He might not be the best route runner, but this dude is a physical specimen. He's going to be an instant red zone target. His catch radius is ridiculous. And he loves to block. So good luck outside target there for Dwayne Haskins. If you miss Gandy Golden, we might be talking about Alex Golden just peppering him in the red zone.
Absolutely. I'm the Candy Man can. Yeah, dude, it just gets it stuck in your head. Thanks a lot, Roy. I'm not going to feature anybody, but I'm going to tell y'all to go check out highlights of Steven Sims Jr., and I'm going to leave it at that. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, so much electricity down this absolutely horrible run organization. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to hit you with overtime, but first, since it's a special overtime, I'll tell you what we're doing first. We are going to come back and hit you with a draft of players we are starting a franchise with, and it's going to follow the XFL draft guidelines where we have specific positions we have to pick per round. We'll be right back with you. I'm going to hit you with a commercial here. If you haven't seen it yet, go back on our YouTube channel and do check out The Island of Misfit Toys, the story of the Florida Gators. We'll be right back with you guys.
Sex, drugs, and murder. Welcome to the locker room of the 2008 Florida Gators.
Hey, let's go! Get in here! Get in here right now! Get in here! Hey, we got 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! That's our bad first half. It ain't happening. We get the ball. I promise you one thing. We're going to hit somebody and we're taking down the field for a touchdown. I guarantee you that.
Guaranteed.
Look at me.
Let's go.
We got 30 minutes.
Let's go.
For the rest of our lives.
Sex, drugs.
Oh,
Now we're back.
Wow.
There we are. There we are. I hit the wrong button, guys. I'm going to blame it on that.
It's okay.
It is okay. So welcome back into the show. We are going to hit you now with this draft. Roy, why don't you explain what's going on in the rules of this thing, and then hit him with the draft order.
Okay, so we're taking the basis of the XFL rules. So if you guys were around, we sat on a TV screen or your video screen for over 8 hours at the XFL draft. It was one of the longest recording, I think, of me, Jack, and Rob's life. And but we're going through 5 phases. In that one, it was skilled O-line, defensive front 7, then secondary, and then it was an open phase. We kind of switched it up. We have 5 phases. The first one will be quarterbacks, then skill positions, then O-line, defensive front 7, then secondary. So we have 5. Rob has the first pick, Jack is second, then myself, Cody, and we're doing it snake format, so we'll be going Cody back to back, then rolling back through the draft order. So,
hey, we agreed because I made the graphic wrong. Front 7 is the third pick, then O-line is the fourth, because I did make the graphic wrong. Well, this is going to be easy, so let's go ahead and get the overtime screen rolling here for you guys. And I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time since I got to pick a quarterback here, right? Like, that's the rules. That's the rules.
Yeah. And this,
Yes.
let's put a little emphasis on this. This is how you would build your franchise.
Yep.
This isn't for one season. This is building your franchise. How the 5 staples to build your franchise with.
Yeah, so I'm obviously going to do the smart thing here and start off with Patrick Mahomes. I know everybody's so shocked. You see the board there now on your screen. I went Patrick Mahomes. Jack, who's your quarterback?
I'm going Russell Wilson. Although he is up there in age, he's already 31. Quarterbacks can play into their 40s, so if you can even get 5, 6, 7, 8 more years out of Russell Wilson, you got to be happy with that, and you'll worry about the quarterback later on.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Roy?
muted again. Can't be mad at it. Roy, you're on the clock, man. Who's your guy?
Mine was quite easy. My boy, Kyler Murray.
Mr. MVP, future MVP Kyler Murray.
That's right. I called it from coming out of college.
Oh, man. Cody, who you starting your franchise with?
The guy that I hate that plays in my favorite team's division, Deshaun Watson. I'm going with the MJ himself of the NFL.
I am not mad at that, Deshaun Watson.
Can't hate it.
Oh, then I go back to back. That's right.
Back to you,
Yep.
skill position player. Any of
Yeah,
them.
that's pretty easy. Christian McCaffrey.
I am not a fan of you right now.
Yeah.
I think everybody was
Deshaun.
like, that's not a surprise. Like, at all.
Deshaun Watson wishes.
Yeah, oh, God, yeah. Deshaun's like, come on, please let that happen. Roy, skill position player for you.
Easy one for me, too. Saquon Barkley.
Jesus, guys. This is not fair. I do not like you, Sam. I am.
Don't play running backs, though, but our first picks are highly talented running backs.
Highly talented running backs. Yeah, absolutely. Jack, you are on the clock now.
This is killing me to
Whoa.
pass up that many weapons in terms of running backs and wide receivers, but I'm going the number 1 tight end in George Kittle.
Oh, you bastard! That was totally about... Dude,
Yeah,
I
it's gonna
do
kick
not
you.
like you, Sam. I am. I do not like you
Stab,
at all,
stab.
my friend.
Stab.
Oh, man. Oh, this is rough for me now
That
because
hurts,
I
doesn't
don't...
it?
No, I was totally about to take... I was like, there's no way he's taking Kittle. I know he loves the guy, but there's just no way he's taking Kittle. And then, take George Kittle.
All right, pair your boy up, Tyreek Hill.
I know.
It works.
I
It
kind of
works.
want to, but I kind of don't, man. I'm
Hopkins.
taking DeAndre. I'm going to do DeAndre Hopkins here because, again, if I get he's great without him, but I get to pair him with Patrick Mahomes and steal him from Royce Kyler Murray over there, right?
Oh.
Even better. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And then my front seven, I guess, is pretty easy. Like that's an easy one for me, right?
Yeah, it's a layup.
Layup for my boy Aaron. I'm going to go ahead and snatch that, make that real quick. Jack, you're on the clock.
Oh, defensive front seven? Oh, Cleo Mack all day. Cleo Mack.
Thank you.
Not even-
Thank
not
you,
even-
Jack, for not taking my guy. TJ Watt.
TJ
You can have him.
Watt. Somewhere,
Cleo Mack.
somewhere JJ Watt cries because his career has now been surpassed by Baby Bro. I'm going to come to you, Cody.
Since we're planning for the future, I'm going to go with the future highest paid edge rusher, Nick Bosa.
I cannot be mad at that. That would have been my backup had I not been able to
True.
snag the correct answer in this round. So I'll come to you now, Cody. You get to go back to back.
Oh, who am I going to pick?
Yeah,
Oh,
this
Mr.
one is
Quentin Nelson
easy.
himself. Big Q. Ooh, I'm liking my guy pick so far. I like the turn.
Must be nice. Must be nice. Me and Roy know nothing about this turn.
This
turn.
is
Yeah,
we're right in the
This
middle.
turn that
smack
you, what is
dab.
this turn you speak of? They say. All right, man.
All right. Well, I'm taking another one of my Steelers. It's been the best in the game, right up there with Q Nelson, David DeCastro.
David DeCastro.
Yeah, they're on two separate levels. Two
Ah,
totally different tiers, my friend.
We'll see about that.
I'm sorry,
Who's
Quentin
had a-
Nelson. Quentin Nelson is the best offensive lineman of the game, and it ain't even close.
Yeah. Oh,
This
yeah.
is like trying to argue somebody's better than Patrick Mahomes. Like those two
Zach
have the
Martin?
biggest gap.
Zach Martin.
Zach Martin's good, but he's damn good. Zach Martin's great. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
He ain't
This is
Quentin
for the
Nelson.
future.
That is true. We got upside here with him.
Your turn, Jack. You are on the clock.
I'm going Ronnie
whisperer.
Stanley, going a young bookend left tackle by the name of Ronnie
Hey, the
Stanley.
man.
Almost went Orlando Brown. It's real close. You could go either of those boys, but I went Ronnie Stanley.
I'm gonna go Mekhi Becton.
What? It's a
Just
little early.
because you can.
I want him on a
Ross.
team of mine somewhere, and since you don't play fantasy for O linemen, this is all I've got, guys. I'm gonna go Mekhi Becton, and then
If Mekhi Becton ends up being the best left tackle in the NFL, Rob's joining the scouting staff.
you're damn right I am. And then this one's easy for me too. I get to pick a secondary. I'll take my boy Jalen.
Oh, I knew
man.
Oh man, the turnaround on that. Now you have to give me a second.
Oh, I know mine. Go ahead and skip yours. We'll let the clock seed on you.
Pull the Vikings. Pull the Minnesota Vikings real quick.
Yep. Let's cede the pick to Roy.
I'm going Minka Fitzpatrick.
Okay, thank you, because I didn't want him.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm taking the next highest paid cornerback in the NFL, Mr. Jair Alexander.
Oh, that's a take. That's your Davius White for going corner?
Jair Alexander.
What do you got here, Cody? Mr. Irrelevant.
Well, I'm going to go with the guy I said I think is going to be in consideration for Defensive Player of the Year, the versatile chess piece in my defense, and go with Derwin James.
Seen that coming.
Seen it coming myself. So, all right. So that puts me the winner at Patrick Mahomes, DeAndre Hopkins, Aaron Donald. I'm light at O-line. I'll give it to you for now. Mekhi Becton and Jalen Ramsey. Jack has Russell Wilson, George Kittle, Khalil Mack, Ronnie Staley, and Minka Fitzpatrick. Roy has Kyler Murray, Saquon Barkley, TJ Watt, David DeCastro, and Jair Alexander. Cody, Deshaun Watson, Christian McCaffrey, Nick Bosa, Quentin Nelson, and Derwin James. All of them are fucking amazing, right? Like, nobody lost this. This is an impossible game to lose.
Yeah, it really is. It was fun, though.
It's a Twitter poll waiting to happen. Whose team's going to win?
Screenshot that right now. Here, I'll do that. I got this. Oh, well, I'll have to go back and screenshot it, but...
although, I gotta call you out, Rob. You said you're light on O-line, and you have Mekhi Becton.
I'm the opposite of light,
been mentioned in the same thing. I'm light on O-line. He's 6'7", like 370. I'm light, man. I'm
light. I'm light in experience. Let's say that. I'm light in experience.
He's not light on the feet. He ain't light in the waist. But he's got no jiggle. But he's got no jiggle.
19-foot tall, 8,000 pounds, dude. He's fine. It's going to work out just fine. So we got roughly 6 minutes here to kill. Well, Jack, if you can't pick your team, whose team do you want?
Ooh. That's tough. I would probably go with Cody's. I think out of everybody's, Cody's has got me the most worried. I like the Nick Bosa pick. And again, if you're full on planning for the future, then I think Nick Bosa might be the pick. And like, how much difference is Nick Bosa this next year from Khalil Mack? So I think he beats me on that pick. But Khalil Mack is going to be the best. Khalil Mack, Aaron Donald next year is still going to be the best, best defensive players in the league unless that crown gets taken. And it hasn't been taken in the last couple of years. They're still the best at their positions. I would have to go Cody. I mean, I would go, if it ain't me, I would go Cody, then Rob, then Roy. Sorry, Roy.
All right, Roy, since he pooed on your team, I'll come to you next. If it can't be yours, who's number one?
Wow. I'm going to take the lighted offensive line, Rob. I mean, I'm telling you, I want Patty Mahomes every day of the week. I don't care if I even got 4 other players. I might still win 3 or 4 games. I'll be no-look passing to myself for touchdowns. Let's go.
I'm not mad. I took that big boy too, dude. I got that big ass dude.
I'll throw the ball to Mekhi and just run behind him.
There we go.
We're going tackle eligible.
So rank them for me then.
Oh man, I gotta give Cody his props. I do like his mix and match here, especially a youth with that. You got youth at edge rusher, offensive line, safety. Even McCaffrey ain't that old. Neither is Watson. So I'd have to say Cody's 1. I don't know. 2 would probably be Rob, myself 3, and then Jack 4.
Oh, look at he just had to put Jack at the bottom. That's what I wanted right there, baby. Okay. All right, Cody. Okay. Let's see.
Only your favorite guy in the secondary. No big deal.
No big deal.
No big deal.
Favorite safety,
Cody.
Other than James.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I like, you gotta go. I agree with Patrick Mahomes, but I ain't gonna lie. After Jack picked George Kittle and I saw Russell Wilson, I immediately thought like, oh my God, Russell Wilson and Kyle Shanahan's offense, like that's like the beauty right there. And then he's got Ronnie Stanley to help with the offensive line blocking, and then of course Khalil Mack. You can use him how he is, but Mika, I like versatile safeties. I keep on saying that every time we talk safeties, and I love Mika's versatility. So I like Jack's team. I mean, like you said, it's hard to pick. You're picking him. I was very surprised by your pick, J.R. Alexander. I'm very high on him, but you're thinking like he's already going to be top 5 corner. So
it will be after this year. I'm telling you. You put him on an island.
I'm not. I won't argue with that. I remember the argument that I had with Jason. This isn't to shit on Jason by any means, but I remember Jason stating in my scouting report when he was in charge of the division, hey, man, I don't know, you probably shouldn't put first-round lock, or you probably shouldn't put, a top 10, top 15 player. Like, I think I had all this high praise saying he's going to be one of the best cornerbacks in the league. And I remember we got into a full-on argument about it, and I was like, I'm going to stick firm. I'm going to stand by what I said. I ain't changing a damn thing. I'm so proud of myself.
I'm so proud. I got to go, Cody.
Joe Alexander's a beast.
I hate to say it, but I might trade my team for Cody's team. Like, I love my guys, but Big Q, Jesus, man. Big Q is so good. Derwin James is so good. C-Mac is so good.
C-Mac with Quentin Nelson on the screen.
Deshaun Watson having competent help around him probably is like a top 3 quarterback. So
Christian McCaffrey alone is better than the bottom 32 offense, and then Deshaun Watson alone can carry an offense. So you have 2 guys that can carry an offense. Just think of what they could do, and then if you have Quinn and Williams blocking for the 2 of them. Yeah, I think Cody's team is probably my favorite on this list.
Yeah, Cody probably won here. So the 4th pick, if you guys do a 4-man random pick to start your league, it's best to start in the 4th position. We did have a question. We'll end on this. We got about 2 minutes here, so 2-minute drive. Chris Shanafelt in the chat over on Twitter, Periscope, said no Gilmore, question mark, exclamation point. So there's some anger behind those words. I'm going to come around the horn and have you guys tell me why you didn't go Gilmore, and I'll start. He's a fucking patriot. Your turn,
took the words
Jack.
right out of my mouth. He took the words right out of my mouth.
Who's up?
Do what?
Who's speaking on him? Sorry,
Chris Shanafelt, I think is how you say it. S-H-A-N-A-F-E-L.
Yeah, that's our boy from at the Combine, Chris Shanefeld.
Oh, okay.
By the way, congratulations, Mr. Shanefeld, on your engagement to your now fiance. So congratulations.
Congratulations all around. Yeah. Woo!
But I think the whole Gilmore thing is he on the back 9 of his career. I think this year was his peak. That's what I thought about. It definitely crossed my mind. But Minka is still rookie contract. If you look at most of these guys, I think minus Russell Wilson, a majority of these guys are still on rookie contracts or just getting into their second-year contracts. You try to go young, I think, is the thought process behind it. That if you're starting a franchise, majority of your players you want first-year contract, beginning a second-year contract.
If the rule for the game was win the Super Bowl this year, would any of you have taken Gilmore as your secondary? Yeah, that's
absolutely
right.
Over Minka, though? I don't think so.
Absolutely.
I'm a Jalen guy, but I'm biased. But again, I could definitely see, had the rules been you got to win the Super Bowl this year, that you give more credence to a guy like Gilmore, who could have a very dominant next 2 or 3 years and be done, whereas a Minka's probably got another 7-8 in him. So, and the countdown clock there, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're at the end of the show here. I'm going to say a special shout out to Key City Brewing. We want to tell them hi and thank you every single chance we get. Also, thank you to everybody who has ordered the book already. It is our pleasure. I teared up a little bit when I got my book today, man. I was so freaking proud. Again, super good job by all the writers in that. So there it is. Jack showing it off big time. Look at Cody there, Vanna Whiting it, and Roy even pretending. Roy with the old hold the ball higher reference there. So again, you guys check it out. We definitely appreciate it all. I'm going to turn the floor over to Jack, and we'll go in order. Jack, Cody, Roy, to say what you want to say. Tell them where they can follow you, and then we'll get on out of here.
I don't care if you follow me. Just go buy this book. There are team PDFs for $5. You can spend only $5 and help a starting Blitzalytic scout, buy a meal or a piece of pizza or whatever it may be. No, seriously, guys, this is our pride and joy. This is Roy Countryman's baby. This means the world to us. I think we've all admitted this is probably one of the proudest moments for us. I think minus you guys and your kids. This comes right a close second, I think, for them too, of speaking on their behalf. for me, it's right behind my dogs in terms of what I'm most happy about and getting to hold, and it just feels good. So I can't thank you guys enough for all the hard work and everything. And again, just go buy this. Starting off at $5, guys. Just go check out a team. $5 PDF digital copy. Get it now and let us know what you think. We really would love to get some feedback.
Cody, Jack, where can they follow you? Sorry, brother.
Follow, like I said, I don't really care about that. Just go buy the book. Follow me at Jack Bourgeois, JackBourgeois. They call me Bougie.
They call me Mr. Bougie. Cody, you're up, bro.
Yeah, so my follow is at Cody Talks NFL. I'm just going to go follow what Jack said. This thing, it's a textbook. Look how big this thing is. It's awesome. I just remember, I remember telling these guys a story. You know, like I kind of grew up in a somewhat, poor family, and I didn't have a lot of money, but I used to go to the local store and go to the magazine rack and stand there and read football magazines. And now, basically, I got a souped-up magazine that I got to be part of. I mean, it's well worth it, guys. Great quality material. Again, thanks to Roy for letting me be involved with it. Rob, you did an outstanding job with this book. Jack, of course, for everything that you've done for Blitzalytics, and this is just the first step of many, and I want to thank to everybody that's been following us and supporting us over this time. But, yeah, just go buy this book for a little bit more support, please.
Just a little bit more.
We starving over here.
Starving, baby. And then the idea man himself, Roy Countryman, the only one that doesn't have his book yet, but trust me, it will be worth the wait, my friend.
Yeah, I'm flipping through it right now. But no, hey, I couldn't thank you guys enough. It's been quite the journey. I think it's been now almost 3 years since I joined Blitz. One of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. As soon as I jumped on board with you guys, I knew that this was the staff and the people to make this dream of mine come true. And I couldn't have did it without you guys. I couldn't imagine doing all 32 teams, especially the brain power, the comic man himself. On the screen, Rob, and the master editor, and Alexander. I know I probably made his hairline recede somewhat after the many pages that he ran through, and just Pat Pryor helped with the depth charts, all the guys that wrote. I mean, just many thanks. And this, like a similar story to Cody, it just reminds me when I was a kid, my mom always said that I had a love of football. My dad, who actually passed away a few years ago, I think he would be proud of me to see this really come to fruition. And he never let me play football, so I have to thank him because I don't know if I'd still be in touch with all the players and want to be in deep with all the info as I get now if I would have played. So, but I used to sit down and write stories about football. My mom would help write them down, and just to be able to show her now a copy of a book that I was a part make happen, and nobody can ever take that away from any of us that was a part of it. So make sure that you check it out on blitzalytics.com. Get your PDF, whether it's the full PDF or a $5, as Jack said, at one team, or really support us and buy the $35 book, even if you use it as a doorstop. We thank you for it, and we'll appreciate it. And how I always say to finish any appearance, stay humble, be a blessing, guys.
Absolutely. Roy, humble and has been a blessing for Blitz. Thank you so much for bringing the project to us and allowing us to release it via the Blitz platform. Like they said, man, $5 for a team, bro, that means $10 will get you a foot long and some reading material, and you're good for the night. Again, Christmas right around the corner. I know I'm going to get my dad a copy. I'm going to get my buddies a copy. It's a real nice gift. I know we're selling it hard, but you need it. So, of course, you can follow me at RobRobGraphics. Not going to do a major ad read today. Going to tell you to go to buyjack.com/blitzalytics and /RobRobGraphics and collections/Blitzalytics and collections/RobRobGraphics to check out the new t-shirts. Get yourself some. I know Roy just ordered some. They're coming in the mail. He got some with his pretty mug on them for the Steel City sermon. So I want to say thank you so much. And no matter what platform you're on, if you enjoyed yourself at all, go ahead, give us a like, give us a subscribe on YouTube. Click that little bell icon so you know when we go live every week. We're doing this every Tuesday, 9/8 Central. We look forward to talking to you guys next week. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Football Happy Hour presented by Blitzalytics.com.
What's out?